Boss sweetie, what it do, what it do, what it done. Welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, please subscribe. And if it's not your first time here, please like, turn on your notifications, and enjoy the vibes. Today, we're back with our fave. I literally talk about you in every single video that I film. Like, I don't think I've ever filmed a video and not spoken about Nastasia.
Hi, guys.
And she's like, you'd think she's on this channel all the time. Yeah. But she's back. It's been a mission to get her here. We had to convince our parents and...
You know, with COVID, guys.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah, no, it was.
But she's back and...
What it do, baby?
What it do, baby?
Oh
you guys didn't even understand how excited we are to be spending time with each other. Like,
genuinely.
This is my wife.
Literally, love my life. You see how correct energy.
I'm not putting that in the video. Anyways.
Now come back.
Today is our continuation of love and healing. So to sum up the last time, I basically spoke about what this whole thing is going to be, why I want to do it, and I kind of gave the context to how I met the person that we're going to be talking about. I did mention, we're not going to mention this person's name on the channel. He will remain anonymous, mostly for my sake, because I don't want to fucking say his name every fucking time.
It's just a reminder.
But yeah, so if you know him, please don't go into my comments there making noise. Don't DM, don't like, whatever, just like blow him steady. I mean, obviously if you're going to go to him and be like, oh, did you see the video in Cheech's channel? Fuck yourself, like, I don't care.
Also, just remember this is about healing as well, so it's not a thing of like a roast channel or anything like that.
No, but we will roast him a fair share.
Probably, but I think it's like to remember, like, it's not necessarily like for you guys to like get his attention or whatever it is. It's to help.
For sure. Nobody wants his attention.
It's to help, like,
been there, done that.
Oh! The sun is crazy, guys.
The sun is angry. The sun is angry. I am in the anger stage of 5 stages of grief.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, to continue, basically last time I left off at the day that he dumped me and the week that he dumped me. Fucking piece of shit.
She's very angry, guys.
But yeah, so basically the week after he dumped me was absolute hell. I'm sure you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
And you actually bumped into him the day that he dumped me.
Yes. Let me even tell you guys. Cheech messaged me. She was like, I'm going to the farmer's market. And I said I couldn't. My parents used to do this thing where like we'd go to the movies together to like spend time with the family and stuff. And we went to Santon and we went to go to the movies. And I'd never met him before this, mind you. But I knew of him and I didn't really like him. And then I saw him, and the thing is we knew of each other because obviously he knew who I was and I knew who he was, and it was just awkward because like now my parents are also there, and it was the same day that he broke up with her. Like it was so awkward, and it's also our first time meeting, but like little did we know.
He seemed fine, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Like he was
perfectly
so happy. He was like, oh hey Nas, like as if we'd known each other for so long. I think that was the start of a lot though. Like that started a lot.
That week was absolute hell. Especially because like my two like best friends were dating each other.
Oh yeah.
So it was like I was constantly surrounded by a relationship. That was my life for a long time. Like yeah, I mean, I remember like that whole day happened and that week passed and it was like a bit awkward. And then the next Friday night, he like basically reached out and he was really upset and he was in tears and he's like, this week has been absolute hell for me.
For you.
Bruh. All of a sudden he was so vulnerable. Not that he wasn't vulnerable before, but like I said in the previous video, like mental health was never a big pillar in our relationship because we had never discussed the fact that he had mental health issues, and I had also never brought it up because I was in a really good place while I was with him. And so he started bringing up all these things that like I related to, and then I found out he was on like a shit ton of pills and he had like a shit ton of conditions that needed to be addressed, and it just was very, very hectic. And as I said in the last video, I'm not someone who likes people to struggle, so I tried to pick up the pieces.
That's pretty much you.
I guess we kind of bonded over the fact that like he was being more vulnerable and more open or whatever. And yeah, it was like we were dating
without the title.
Without the title.
So they basically got rid of the title for a week. A week they got rid of the benefits and the title. And then after that week, the benefits returned. More from one side, if we're honest. But that's all. We're getting into that. But yeah, no, it was really weird, I think. Because it's like, you're a very caring person, naturally. But like
fully I was in love with this gent.
But like the problem that comes in is also like, where do you draw the line? Because I mean, that is mental health issues. It's a very sensitive line to cross.
Also, it's so vindictive to fucking use that to keep someone there.
In your life.
I'm not gonna get over that because guys, you'll come to understand that like his mental health formed such a big part of our relationship as it went forward.
No, it did.
That like me staying was largely as a result of his mental health and keeping him mentally stable.
Because like you're the only person who understood and knew actually.
Yeah, there's so much about him that like I was the only one that knew. At least we think I'm the only one that knew besides his mom.
That's also true.
You know, gents. We also
Y'all like
I was
to lie.
The love of his life.
Fix that shit. I'm sorry. No, you need to fix that. Why? Why are you lying? We're going to find out. No, guys, Cheech will find out. If there's one person that I know
in this world that will find out
that you're lying, it's her. And the thing is, she won't go looking for it. It will come to her. So lie. Do it. Do it. It's okay. But you'll know.
It's gonna come to me.
It's coming.
Even if I don't want it. Even if I rebuke that shit.
It will come.
And that's even a whole thing of like why I stopped following gents on social media.
Yes.
Because like I don't want to know your shit. But then gents think that's a way to go and lie. Look, next thing a nigga got shot.
Yeah, literally. The thing is, you guys think you're so slick. That's the problem.
My ancestors and my God, they work overtime.
No, but
to
guys, seriously.
Me. They work overtime. Even if I have to go through hurt to undergo character development, in the end, those niggas work overtime. It was very, very intense and very, very like, if that makes sense. And we were talking like more than ever.
Yeah, no.
Calls all the time. I remember like he still used to play sports back then, the craziest time. He still used to play sports. And the one day like I'm sitting in class and I'm sitting literally in English with my phone, and I knew that he had a really bad game the day before, which I was actually supposed to go watch with you, and we decided last minute to not go.
Shucks.
Remember there when his school still had its old and we decided last minute to not go, and he had a really bad game, and like he was kind of upset that like I wasn't there, but like we got past it. And then he had like an inter-house athletics thing at school, an inter-school whatever, but it was like athletics, and then he had rugby after. So he did his athletics, cool, and then I don't know what rugby this was that started like in the middle of the fucking day, because I was in English. I think it was like the last period of the day, which was like 2. And my phone, I remember, was like, you know when your phone goes zzz, 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 zzz? I'm always someone who puts my phone on silent.
Yes.
Like we know this. And for some reason that day it wasn't on silent, so it was like ping, 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 ping. And my English teacher goes, whose phone is that? Like, is someone dying? So I'm like, sorry ma'am, and I put it on silent and I covered. And I just have missed calls and texts from this gent. And then the bell rings, so obviously class is over. So I don't have to walk out of class, and I look at my phone and he's like, yo, Cheech, I'm at the hospital. They might admit me for a few days. I didn't know yesterday when I played, like I had a really bad concussion. I thought it was just like I was extremely tired because he suffers from the worst insomnia. And then I don't know what happened at athletics, but he shouldn't have been at athletics because he had the worst concussion. And then from there he carried on to rugby, and he fractured his sternum. So it was like the worst concussion ever. Like if he had actually gone to bed, he probably would have been in a coma.
Yeah.
And then he had also fractured his sternum. So I'm like, shit, like tell me how it goes before I go home. So I remember I even stayed at school for like 2 hours that day, because I was like, if I need to Uber to the hospital without my mom knowing where I'm going, at least I can say I'm like grinding at school. Like I was ready to be at that hospital.
Yeah.
And then like 40 minutes passed and he calls me and then he was like, no, apparently like the effects of the coma have kind of wavered, so like I can go to sleep and like I won't be induced into a coma, and the fracture isn't too bad, but I have to stop playing sports, which depressed him like hell.
Yeah, because he actually, like, I didn't know that he was, because we weren't friends then. So like to find out that he played all these sports, I was like,
he loved sports and he loved rugby, and I remember like it was one of our biggest bonding thing was like rugby, and
because you're also the supporter of rugby.
I love watching sports. I hate
that was
watching
one
them
thing
over
she
TV.
wanted. She wanted a man who played rugby.
Sports. Like, listen guys, if you want me and you're in university, even if you're not in a club, play a sport. Even if it's swimming, as boring as it can get.
She'll be like a soccer mom.
I will be there every single time that I can. I have dreams of being a wag, not even for the money and the fame, but like I love seeing people do what they're good at and what they're passionate about, and I feel like the best place to see that is sports.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really depressed him that he couldn't play rugby anymore, and it was what it was. Like, what are you gonna do?
But also, he doesn't look after himself.
He's very reckless. Like, it is what it is. If I'm gonna die today, I'm gonna die. Like, my ancestors work overtime to keep me alive, whatever. Like, the world
if you tell him to do something, he'll be like, fine.
And you need a certain person to tell him.
Yes.
Like, for a long time, Nastasha could never have been that person to be like, bro, go do this.
Yeah.
It was always, yo, Cheech. Your G hasn't slept in 4 days. Tell him to go take sleeping pills. Now I'm thinking, so he lied when he said he was going to bed. I also don't like lies. What are you lying for? Just tell me you can't dose. I'll stay up.
But guys,
with
like,
you.
also lies, there's no reason for them. They really isn't.
Stupid lies.
Right? Like, unnecessary. Like, they just... But yeah.
Anyways, so that was a big thing, and like that didn't help. I was on like hectic self-revitalizing meds, an overload of medicine. Like his hormones had basically like fucked out.
Yeah.
And so his mentality was fucked out, and it was just like,
yo, guys. Ha! Hey.
I was like, I can't lose you like this.
No, but he's messy.
I can't.
Especially then.
He was the worst.
Like, messy.
You know, toxic. Toxic.
Guys, can I tell you? Me and this boy did not like him. Well, I didn't like him.
Yeah.
I didn't. I really did not. I was like, Cheech, get rid of him. I don't want him in your life. Like, and the thing is, because Cheech is, I'm more cold-hearted kind of person. Like, you gotta make that heart melt to get through to me kind of thing.
I feel like we're opposites, because you're like very cold-hearted, but once you get through, like, you're there, whereas I'm like,
very
cool,
open.
I'll stay and I'll support you and whatever. But if you cross that line, no, when I'm cold, I'm cold.
No.
It's like, I'm not gonna lose him in this state. We've already spoken about how he doesn't feel like supported at home with his mental health, his previous relationships. Gents always come, my previous relationship didn't, but then they won't cuff you when you do. Anyways.
That makes no sense to me. Can we just... Guys. Okay. I'm your ex. I treated you like shit. I was toxic. I didn't even feed you in Yana. I didn't Uber you someplace you didn't have money to Uber there. Nothing. Whole wifey comes along. She cooks you meals. She comes and supports you when you're playing a sports match. She gives you money to Uber to your friends because you haven't seen your friend in how many weeks, but you don't have money. She buys you food. She cuddles you there in your bed. She holds you to her heart. And you say,
I can't cuff her. That was like a very dark time in his life, which translated to being a very dark time in my life, because you know when you walk side by side with someone on their journey, everything they go through,
the
you
top
go
as
through.
well.
Like any small thing, you're like their safe haven. And
literally a wife.
And I think like, shame, it's not even fair to make it seem like he used me, because he was that to me as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very like reciprocal and all of that. And obviously now your girl is getting more and more attached, right? And so is he, and we seem to be falling deeper and deeper and deeper in love, but we're not together.
Yeah.
And we're like, you know what? We don't want to be in a relationship right now. We're young. We're figuring a lot of things out, you know.
But she's still like, it's almost like you promised yourselves to each other.
Yeah, we were kind of like later on in life. Like, sort of.
Yeah.
And I mean, the rest of that year, did anything significant happen in grade 10 with that gent besides him dumping me? It was kind of like that whole up and down, rocky up and down, rocky up and down.
Yeah, it was kind of like, because he was also talking to other Huns. And you were
I
confused.
spoke to other gents.
No, but
like I
you
was
were
never
like
gonna cuff.
Yeah, no, genuinely, but like you were confused because it was almost like he was like saying these things to you, but then he wasn't showing them. See, that's the other thing is actions and work, guys. If there's one, say it. Actions speak louder than words.
No, but it's fucked up because then the next year and the next year for a while, and then so like for intervals for the next 2 years, his actions spoke louder than his words.
But that's
then
the thing,
I was
he
like,
would switch up.
you're no longer telling me the things, but you're doing the things, and I'm confused.
That's the problem. Is you guys, if you tell me I want to cuff you, I want you in my life, I want you as wifey, right? And then you start to do the actions. Cool. If you tell me those things but don't show me, but then all of a sudden you start showing me but not telling me, and then all of a sudden you start telling me and not showing me. No.
Like back and forth.
That doesn't work. That's not it.
In grade 10 I did a lot of things for this gent. I remember I planned his 16th.
Oh yeah.
And then I didn't go because the ex that was the reason that we broke up was going to be there. And I kid you guys not, when I stop it. When I say he held that over my head for 3 years, like,
if we could tally up your fuck ups versus his fuck ups, it's like 1 to 1 million.
Like, but he held it, like he had grip on that thing. But yeah, I mean, it moved. His birthday, my 17th was a shit year. Actually, yes. So grade 11 comes along and things are up and down, and obviously this guy is still like my best friend. And we support each other in every way in which we know how. And I remember my 17th came along and I had the shittest day. And I remember like, he was so upset that he couldn't have been with me for my birthday to make it better. So my sister had made like brownies, and I took brownies into my room and put candles in them, and we had a FaceTime, and he sang to me, and we did like the whole cute like, oh babe, I wish you could be there for your birthday. Like, fuck off.
Bang, closed door thing.
Bruh, like, and I remember he was like, let's just do something for your birthday, and I was like, bruh, literally this year I'm really not up for celebrating. Like, I'm not even gonna have a lunch with my friends or dinner, and I didn't do anything. I said, guys, I'm not for it. Lost my age.
Said no.
And I really wasn't feeling it. And time moved on for his birthday. I don't even know what happened.
I think he did any.
He also didn't do anything.
Grade 11 was...
It was focused on books, really.
Yeah, no.
But then while we were in that phase, it was like, when you're in grade 11, by the time you get to the middle of grade 11, you have to start thinking about your future, not in the most serious sense, but like where you're gonna study. Do you want to study?
It becomes very important because now your marks
they mean something.
Yes, they mean something. Like,
so
guys,
the first time your marks mean is something.
Yeah.
So it's like all of those things, and by this point, like, this gent and I aren't dating, but we've like pretty much secured how we feel about each other, and we're very much in love with each other. We very much want to spend the rest of our lives with each other, but we're scared, rather he's scared if he jumps into it now while he's still immature, he's gonna fuck it up and he's gonna lose the love of his life. And I was like, you know what, that's understandable. I also want him to have his bachelor years. I want him to fuck around and like all this stuff.
Yeah, no, I think everyone can understand that.
Yeah.
Like, I would never force that upon someone.
Yeah, but like we still want to like have that element of like romance between us, if that makes sense. Unless one of us finds a hun, right? Or a gent. The problem with this gent is that he finds a hun every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks he'd be cuffed
He
and
gets
then
bored
he's done.
easily.
And so I remember we had so many fights about this thing, and he was like, no, I cuff to pass time. And that's a big reason of why I wouldn't want to cuff you, because I'm not trying to have you be someone who passes time. So when he gets bored of being single and whatnot, because he doesn't like going out again, social anxiety and all these other things, he'll cuff a hun.
Because then he just has to be cuffed to this hun.
And then once like he's bored of that situation, he'll dump the hun.
And be single.
And he'll be single for 2
months. It was a whole, just this like loop that he was
of
in.
toxicity. His life was like toxic, and I don't want to validate it because there's no reason. You're your own person, do better, but like everything he knew about love in terms of his parents was toxic, but he hadn't processed that it was toxic. It was only when I would be like, bro, that's so fucked up, like. And the thing is, like, under all the shit, he's actually a good person.
No, but like, I think that's the worst part. It's because like, I was experiencing him through two different lights. I was experiencing, well, I stopped like hating him because I had to get to know him because of Cheech. But like I was experiencing his toxicity with Cheech, and I was experiencing this like
this friend,
joyful, like just amazing friend that was like never like showing me that toxic energy. So it was so weird because I was angry. Like I was angry for Cheech. But at the same time, he was showing me this completely. It was really just like, not okay.
He's like I said, his aura is so like encapsulating. Yeah, no. So,
he's fun to be around.
He's such an amazing gent when he's just being himself.
No, for sure.
And so maybe it's a thing of the example of love that he had to work off of was always
the
fucked
influences,
up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not an excuse to me, but I don't know how different people deal with this shit.
That's also true.
But yeah, and so basically grade 11 being this time where you make all these decisions. But we had both agreed we were moving to Cape Town. We were studying at UCT, or I would be studying
I
at
think you guys had that dream together.
Like, we had planned the life, and the thing was, like, we both want to get married young. And the thing about, like, us not getting married was, like, we want to be financially stable and independent of our parents and each other before we, like,
but you both had the same dreams and, like, future goals.
Yeah, so, like, the thing of, like, starting to date for marriage in uni was feasible. Because it was, like, you want to start building your future together so that by the time you're financially independent and, like, you're financially stable, you can just hop into it. Like, marriage is something we've both always wanted. Yeah. And we wanted it with each other. We understood each other. And we just seemed to have the same views on a lot of things, on how we wanted to raise our kids, on business, on how marriage itself is meant to work, on how many kids we wanted to have, where we wanted to live, the type of life, like everything down to like how many dogs and the type of dogs we wanted.
I think you guys even like had like, I remember Cheech would like send me pictures. This is the house like we were thinking of today, like all
like
these kind of things.
We genuinely had these in-depth conversations about like architectural styles. We both have this thing of like being extremely present in our children's lives. So like having a business model in our lives where money was being produced even if you weren't sitting with your work was also something we spoke about. Everything was just accordingly, like everything was together. And so obviously when you're having these conversations and things are linking up and this thing seems feasible, you start thinking, yo, this is gonna be my reality. And we all know marriage is not easy, relationships are not easy, people are not easy to deal with. So the shit that comes now, we're gonna work with it and we're gonna use it to strengthen our bond and our foundation. So that when we do hop into marriage, we go in knowing what's the shit. Yeah. You know? And so that was my mentality on a lot of the shit that he gave me. But like, I'm not gonna pretend I didn't give him shit. Yeah. I was always in his PMs like by saying. Yeah, we were always fighting, but like he knew how to handle it.
That's okay. That's another thing, is that like it worked. It was toxic, but it worked.
Then end of grade 11 came, our plans were according, we had agreed on moving, on studying, on everything. Him and I weren't really a thing, and I knew like, okay, I want to be his hand.
But like, just understood it.
But at the same time understood like what we had agreed, and I was kind of like, I'm not going to pressurize him. But also there were a ton of hands chasing him.
Yeah, no.
This guy has a trail of hands behind him.
Guys, a new one every day.
And the thing is, you never have to worry about him cheating. He doesn't cheat, but when he's tired of you, he drops you and he moves on to what he wants.
Like, I don't think you understand, but I think that's what I would prefer over cheating.
No, for sure.
But like, it's a thing of like, it will still hurt you though.
Then he was hosting a New Year's thing, which I went to, and I went there with a clear head, guys, very level headed. I was like, I'm not gonna enter into this. I'm not gonna chase this kid. I'm gonna be super chill. My mates are gonna be there. We're gonna have a good time. And there was this Han. You know when I say, not Bumblebee. Because Bumblebee had a kid.
Oh my god,
firstly,
guys.
him and his ex were like, but at the same time, like, sorry, I understood that because like they were mates and like had a kid. Yeah. But like this other Han, who was kind of his ex, not really, was like, you know when you're here with the gent, you here with the gent, you can have a sip of your drink with the gent. Like,
guys,
you want a gent. And I remember I chilled with Rio and I was like, I'm not gonna make mess for myself with that situation. And I was like a blooming. And then there was a point where like him and I are very playful, like physically
Yeah.
playful. So we started like wrestling and playing around, whatever. And like that click, man, it just, you know, when things fall into place.
Yeah.
And I just remember like we ended up like cuddling and like lambsing a bit, and he literally like dismissed the other hand. He was dismissed in front of all of us.
You know what the worst part is? You didn't even have to try.
Bruh, man, I stepped back. I was like, whoa, I'll never compete with the hand for a gent.
Girls don't do that.
It's not cute.
It really isn't.
Like at night, he really like claimed me, New Year's lamza. I remember I saw him like 4 times in a week.
Yeah,
like
no.
we were
It's like they were dating.
We were getting ready to cuff now, and we were having the conversations again of we know we said we'd wait, but
Sure.
we want it now.
Yeah.
Like, or at least let's just experience it now or something. Like, why are we depriving ourselves of each other? And then matric started, and then 2 weeks into matric, so this time it was like a 6-week thing. 2 weeks into matric, he was just like, I don't want a relationship. I'm focusing on books. And you're just like,
Boy doesn't take his books that seriously, guys.
he doesn't take his book seriously for shit.
He is a smart person.
But he's lazy.
Yes.
He doesn't care about books. Books? My
No, guys, no. Something was up.
So I timid. I said bet. But anyway, closing the story there. Yeah, what I learned from the grade 11 year, thinking back on it now, is like, yo, guys, mental health is a powerful tool to grip someone. And I said this in the past video, it's a powerful tool, and
It genuinely is.
your mental health always has to come first. I was watching a video the other day that said, like, if you're in a relationship, right, your mental health still has to come first because you're your own entity in the relationship.
You can fuck yourself up and the relationship.
So if your mental health is buckling in that relationship, you have to dip.
Yeah, no.
You have to.
Guys, don't do that to yourself and to another person. It's not worth it.
Like, to the point where, like, being in that relationship is a trigger. You have to dip. I mean, I learned a lot about myself and my friends, which that I'm grateful for. If there's anything I learned from this experience, it's like my education about others. I mean, I learned a lot about this girl and how she deals with situations, and how she's like, how far she's willing to go for her friends. I learned a lot about my friends in general. That's when I started making heavy decisions in terms of my friendships. Like,
a lot of us.
anyone who knows me knows, like, if this is me, nah, like, there's no such thing as me and then people around me. Like, there's me and my close circle of friends, and then there's the rest of you.
Wait, the best friend group is family.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
And that was being cleaned up a lot last year. He was brought into the family, essentially.
Yeah.
As we were cleaning out the waste,
I bring you in.
and he ended up being 10 times worse.
It's not even that for me. It's like, we're cleaning up the family, we sort out the family and everything. I bring you
established
into the
it.
family. Now we're all supposed to grow together.
Yeah.
I really believe he tried to not take my friends from me. He knew they were always going to be my friends, but he tried to replace my spot in their lives. But yeah, guys, that's the end of this. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, turn your notifications on. If you relate to anything we've said, if you have any advice or whatever, my DMs are always open at Chichi with 6 Ys, or go to the comments if you're brave enough. And catch you guys next time.